Welcome to the latest Wax Ecstatic Pack Break. I'm your host, Matt Sammon, and as you can see here, we've got a couple of really fun items to open up and to discuss on our latest podcast this Friday, October 23rd. We've got the 1987 Donruss Major League All-Star pop-up cards and from 1979 Major League Baseball bubble gum. And this is essentially Topps chewing gum, as you can see. But as we will discuss, this was a little bit of flair for Topps as they were trying to create new revenue streams and also fend off the competition that was about to come from Fleer and, of course, Donruss later on. They really tried to market Topps bubblegum in the late 70s and early 80s. And as I've discussed before, this was basically Bazooka Joe bubblegum, which the Topps Chewing Gum Company made. And rather than the usual Bazooka Joe comic, they wrapped the gum in a comic featuring an all-star baseball player. So we've got a couple of all-star items here, but most importantly, fun items. These are very fun items. And I think even though the hobby is very healthy today, and there's been some rejuvenated interest during the COVID times, people kind of going through their old card collections and, spending time indoors collecting sets or opening up old packs and seeing what they have in their collections. I just still think that the hobby in general kind of overlooks the fun of a lot of things. We're so focused on value of cards, monetary value of cards, and we're so focused on condition of cards and, getting them graded and stuff like that. You travel back to the late 70s or the mid to late 80s, there were still just fun things. None of this stuff is extremely valuable, but it was fun to open then. It should be fun to open now. And in fact, we'll start off with the gum. And if you do find this gum online somewhere or at a card show or what have you, I would advise that you don't eat it. Of course, that's pretty standard for a 41-year-old piece of confectionery goodness. But, this is as hard as a rock. You could probably use it as sidewalk chalk if you wanted to. So we're not going to eat the gum. We will, however, open it. Now, I don't know what condition these wrappers are going to be in because it is 41-year-old gum. And they've been meticulously kept in someone's collection. My goodness, that doesn't even look like it should be in your body. That's just, it doesn't even smell good. So, all right, so we will discard that. Well, let's take a look at this 1979 Topps wrapper. Pretty large wrapper, too. Look at that. Reggie Smith of the LA Dodgers. Inside baseball, nice little stat here about the rules of baseball. The batter is out if his fair ball touches him before touching a fielder. So that's something I'll pass along to my Little League team. But you also have a nice stat here for Reggie from 1978. And as you can see clearly marked here, this is number 25 of 33. Neat little caricature, almost a cartoon comic book version of Reggie Smith, one of the more unheralded players of the Dodgers in the 1970s. Nothing on the back because that's where the gum went. But a pretty neat little keepsake here where if you were to flatten it out, you could probably jam this into a top loader and showcase it. Or at least back in the 70s, you would have put it probably in a photo album. All right, so we got Reggie Smith. Let's see who we have here in pack number 2. Now, I bought a lot of 4 of these. It wasn't too expensive. If I remember correctly, it was maybe about $10 for the whole thing. Or not including shipping. I think, it's probably about $4 or $5 for shipping. All right, putrid gum aside, which all-star do we have wrapped around here? Let's see. We've got, look at that. J.R. Richard, one of the most feared pitchers of his time. Of course, tragically, suffering a stroke in 1980, and boy, has he had some downs in his life ever since then. But it says here, JR set the NL mark for right-handers with 303 strikeouts for the Astros during 1978. You've got the old orange Astro hat, the Tequila Sunrise, or as my son calls it, the Fruit Loops jersey. And you've got a nice little baseball rule here as well. All right, so some pretty cool cartoon caricatures of these all-star players. Let's quickly open up piece number 3. If I can get it to quickly open. There we go. Now notice that the wrapper is designed to tear away here. That way the comic actually stays in place. Another star of the 1970s Dodgers, Steve Garvey. MVP of the 78 All-Star Game, led National League with 202 hits in 1978. Again, another rule here, but pretty cool. Although, rubber face look here for Steve Garvey. Wow. All right. Last but not least, piece number 4 here. Let's see. All right, we got an outfielder, we got an infielder, we got a pitcher. Can I get a catcher here? Can I get some Johnny Bench up in here? Maybe Thurman Munson? I don't even know if they're even part of the set. All right, let's see. No, but we'll take a pitcher. Boy, this was the unexpected one. Ross Grimsley. Apparently, Topps feeling that they had to get somebody from the Montreal Expos because the Expos were an up-and-coming team then. But Ross Grimsley is probably the last person when you think of it. You know, you're normally thinking of, well, you know, Steve Rogers, Gary Carter, Andre Dawson, you know. It's a little too soon for Tim Raines. But it does point out here that Ross was a 20-game winner for the Expos in 1978 with 19 complete games. I don't think the entire National League has 19 complete games nowadays in a 162-game season. So there you go. Pretty neat little comic book version of some of the better-known and lesser-known stars of the 1970s. So we'll talk about a few of them in this upcoming podcast. Now let's open up the pop-up cards here. I remember the pop-up cards. I bought, I think, one at a card shop a long time ago when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And they were pretty neat, and I'll show you why. First, you have your Roberto Clemente puzzle pieces. You also have the big Donruss All-Star cards, which is something that they ran. I'm sorry, they're a little out of frame there. These big cards, in fact, they're so big, I'm going to hold them back here. Or I can do it sideways, maybe. But anyways, they had these big All-Star cards, and Donruss did this throughout the 1980s. 1987 would be the penultimate year of the big Donruss All-Star cards. And they were basically simplified versions of their base sets. So you could see like the 87 Donruss set, you had a little band of baseballs here and here, but essentially the same look. Only differences on the back, while you had some more information about the player here, the color of the back was a little different. 87 Donruss had the gold back, while the All-Star cards, they used the same light blue color from 1986. So here is the late Antonio Fernandez, late Tony Fernandez there. We also have Glenn Davis, who of course was a fan favorite in Houston, where the 86 All-Star game was. And we're going to Wally's World, one of the biggest rookies from 1986. Now, here was the extra tchotchke that came in the pop-up All-Stars. You had this cardboard insert with the 1986 All-Star Game logo. Here it is. It's Whitey Herzog, and it shows you how you can put it together. So basically, you pull it apart a little bit here. All right, let's pop Whitey's buzz cut up here. Kind of fold it down like that. I'll give it a little more of a flex here. And then you fold in the tabs here just to give it a little bit of structure. So here, providing a nice little 3D effect, Whitey Herzog and the Astrodome in the background. It's a pretty neat little tchotchke. It's a fun thing. And I remember I had a Cal Ripken one when I was a kid. Let's see who else we can get here. First with the cards, the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Smith. This is Don Ace, not Don Ass, kids. And another Glenn Davis here. Our pop-up is Wade Boggs. So we're going to pop this open like Boggs would pop open a can of Natty Light circa 1987. All right. So here we go. Wade Boggs in action at the Astrodome. Let me quickly open the other ones up here. All right. Player card, Eddie Murray. Whitey Herzog again. Our dreaded manager, slightly creased here, Darryl Strawberry, one of the biggest stars of 1987. You know how much I love dreaded managers, so it's just an added bonus that I get the Whitey Herzog doppelganger. Oh, Boggs fell over. Imagine that. All right. Oh, there he goes again. He's a little tipsy, folks. I know. Stranger things have happened. Oh, even Whitey's feeling it right now. All right. Oh, that's why I didn't get that last tab up there. Okay. All right, let's all right. One Whitey's enough. Let's open up the last one here. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, added Whitey Herzog card goodness. How bad were the Cleveland Indians in 1987? Ken Schramm here to answer. And then Hubie Brooks. We did a show featuring Hubie Brooks, 86 Donruss a long time ago, talking about how Hubie was always the big part of that terrible trade between the Mets and the Expos where Gary Carter went to the Mets. And what do you know? I get to relive just a little bit of my childhood here, not just opening these, but the all-star card that I had, the all-star player that I had back in the day. Look at that. Cal Ripken is back. Oh, there goes Boggs, taking everybody down again. So, these are just some fun items here. You've got the pop-up cards right here. You've got the cool little wrapper comics here. And you've got your big, so big, I may have to zoom out here. Hang on, let me zoom out just a little bit. The super big all-star cards here. So a lot of fun items. We're going to talk about them a little bit. And again, in a day and an age where we're so focused on values of cards and conditions of cards, it's fun just to have some fun, even if it comes at the expense of your digestive system. Please don't eat this. We'll talk 1979 Topps Major League Baseball chewing gum and 1987 Donruss All-Star cards with the pop-ups in our next podcast. That is coming Friday, October 23rd via our home base at Audio Boom, plus all along the interwebs that pick up our RSS feed, including Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, Blueberry, Spotify, Google Play. You name it, we'll be there. We'll pop up this Friday at noon Eastern. We hope you will too. I'm Matt Sammon, your host for Wax Ecstatic. Thanks for joining me.